answer questions, but coming before you tonight to present the final budget for the Shorewood PD police station department. And after obtaining and receiving all of the final bids for the project for the rest of the divisions, I believe you all were given a packet, so that's what I'm working on with. The front page is an updated budget. First column being the original estimate that we put together, and then the second column is the final bids that were received and plugged in. So I'll run down to the bottom. I guess overall, with all the bids that were received, we did come in slightly over budget, or over the estimate, I should say. We carry down to the bottom with all the revised numbers, and we're making some adjustments which play into the right-hand columns. The first one being remove the bid bonds. So one of the recommendations I want to point out that I made to the chief and to the team here is that we can probably remove all of the bid bonds and performance bonds from these bidders. They are all qualified bidders that we work with on a regular basis, and none of them are a concern. And our professional recommendation is we can save that money by removing the performance bonds. So we made that adjustment, and then also removing the sales tax from some of the bidders who mistakenly included tax on their bids. So that was removed and corrected, which obviously showed the savings. And then we ultimately had to make a little bit of an adjustment to our allowances, which is basically our contingency for the project. To get to the bottom line, $864,989. As you all know, the previous dollar amount that was approved by the board was $865,000. So we get pretty much right to that dollar amount. It is tight, in all honesty. The bids came in a little bit higher than we anticipated, and I think a large part of that is just the market. And obviously we were really dialing in the scope of work for this project to get the biggest bang for our buck, and we knew it was going to be tight. So that's an overview of the budget, the front page. Any questions on that?
So taking the 14,000 out, that's contingency, or what is, how do you pick which contractor to take it out, or a pool that you?
Sure, so ultimately I'll explain a little bit about how we decided to go about carrying contingency on this project. What we did is the far right hand column on the budget page is allowances within bids. So what we did is we allocated dollars to the divisions in which we had potential concerns with needing to carry contingency. So it just helped us kind of identify and categorize the contingency dollars. And so overall, we would have had $67,000 in contingency. And yeah, just reducing that by 14 puts us down to that 53, which is still a good size contingency of a project of this size. Of course, we'd love to have the 67. But to make it work with the dollars we have, that's the adjustment that we need to make. I think it still puts us in a safe place to get the job done. So I also have a few other ideas as we move forward. If we move forward with awarding these contracts, there's some fine tuning we can do with the scope. I have a few tricks up my sleeve that I think will save a little bit more money, and hopefully we can build up that contingency a little bit more.
I wonder if the acoustical ceiling going from just at 10,000 almost to 30,000.
Yep, that is a couple of things coming into play. One is, like I mentioned, the market. Second, we did tweak the scope in that division a little bit and added some more ceiling tiles that are a little bit more expensive for the interview rooms, security type ceiling systems. So that was a little bit more expensive, and also modified the scope in a few of the other areas, such as the evidence storage room. We originally had estimated and anticipated we could reuse the ceiling grid in that space, and after reviewing it further and completing the construction documents, we decided that that would not be feasible. So increased the scope a little bit in that division. At the end of the day, there was some...
I have a question about scope too, because the scope on this project sometimes moves around a little bit, gets a little confusing. So
Sure.
when you came to us the last time, the scope was the investigators' offices, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm just going from memory.
Sure.
Evidence, and there was a third area, I forgot. Oh, the interview rooms that you just talked about, and also the roof, right?
That is correct. I failed to mention the roof and the replacement of the rooftop units for the entire HVAC system.
Okay, that's what we talked about last time.
Yep.
Is this funding those 5 things?
Yes.
Is that scope still the scope that would be, okay?
Yep. Yeah, I guess that's one difference, that if you're looking at one of the previous budgets that we had put together, we had separated out the HVAC rooftop replacements along with the re-roof of the building. That is all now kind of rolled into this final budget.
Well, just as long as the scope we talked about and approved the last time you were here is the same scope that's in these estimates?
It is the same,
Okay, thank you.
no problem.
I've got a question for our village attorney. Removing the bid bonds, what kind of risk does that entail for us?
Well, that's not true. My understanding, your representation is that these are all contractors that have a track record of working with the other municipalities in the area as well as Riley as well.
That is correct. Yep. These are all contractors that we work with, most of them on a regular basis. They're all contractors that we know, that are reputable and have been around, for a long time. So I didn't see anybody on this list of recommendations that was a concern.
I guess I'll defer to the, and this is something that you discussed with staff and the chief and all the parties involved that estate. And this was a mutual decision that this is one of the ways that we could reach our budget.
Correct.
And was that done for all, each of the contractors?
That's what is there.
For all of the bids that were received and that are on that page, number 2, the recommendation letter.
It's a total of about $6,400 of bid bond pricing.
That is correct.
Yeah, that's ultimately relevant decision if you want to take on a risk or not. Of course, we'll do it.
Is the risk like mechanics liens, that kind of stuff? Or?
You mean in terms of what happens if there's a default?
Right.
Well, there's a statutory process by which the contract is, the terms are not met, and where you execute the bid on, provide some additional protections, but again, first, to our staff and contractors on it's really more like a policy question, as opposed to a legal question.
I think from my standpoint, the recommendation is that we rely on our contracts to do that work for us. Since there is a default, it will be a breach of contract in which we still have repercussions. Performance bond offers an additional layer of funding, but the problem with the performance bond process is that it typically takes a fair amount of time to turn around those recouped costs. So it ultimately delay the project anyway, so.
Some of the dollar amounts are, $139,
This is,
$225.
Yes, correct.
And so,
Is this something we've done with other municipalities?
Yes.
great question.
Yeah, we definitely have removed this from other projects and other municipalities that we work with. Again, it's based on a recommendation of the fact that we know these guys. If I had any concerns, I would certainly recommend we should have a performance bond on it.
are these items actually another bid? Has work started on any of these particular items?
No.
Okay.
No, we're here tonight asking for permission to award these contracts, and enter into contracts with these bidders.
I'd make a motion to authorize Riley Construction to award the bids to the contractors listed in the intermediate contracts with said contractors as enhanced by Riley Construction in the interest
Further discussion?
I just have one question about the square footage for the community that's set aside for the community space in the building. I went back and looked at some of our prior plans, and I think at one point, Zimmerman had said there'd be almost 7,000 square feet set aside for that community area. What is the current square footage under the current plans?
To be completely honest, I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. But what I can say is that the community space available is not being impacted by this phase of the project, and that space can still be, that size or that need can still be determined before the next phase of the project moves forward.
Because it's between we have left to do the garage, right?
Correct.
So we have garage and community space are what's left.
Yep, and the wall that divides the two ultimately will dictate the space of the community room, and that wall has not been finalized.
Okay, thanks.
Any other discussion? We have motion second, all in favor of the motion stated, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Okay, move on to item 8B, Public Works. This is your final Public Works.
Settle in, folks. We've got some long discussions here. I got 2.5 hours. So.
Before you and I work out.
We've got a number of things on Public Works. The first thing in our package is consideration of lane configuration for Lake Drive, south of Capitol Drive. I know we've all read all the material. There's been a lot of good work by our consultant, by staff, to the Ped and Bike Safety Committee and the Public Works Committee. We did in the last number of weeks convene a Public Works Committee meeting that had some attendance by the public to receive the report from Mr. Voigt on that. We had a lot of questions at that point, which I think were generally answered. And then subsequent to that, there was a public meeting last week, as well as a pedestrian and bike safety committee meeting following that public meeting. And the results of all of those is the recommendation to continue the lane configuration that we've discussed and approved for Lake Drive north of Capitol Drive to all of Lake Drive, including now south of Capitol Drive to Edgewood. And in summary, that would entail for most of that way making the outer lanes, the curb lanes, parking lanes, and with the exception of the reconfiguration near Capitol Drive, the non-reconfiguration of traffic lanes near Capitol Drive. You'll recall that one of the few requirements, or maybe restrictions, I should say, from Wisconsin DOT was that whatever we do, we cannot degrade the efficiency. I'm not going to wiggle my fingers. The efficiency of the intersection. We cannot make that less efficient in terms of moving traffic and have wait times, etc. So what we have before us is a summary of all of those meetings, all of those activities, actions in the last couple of weeks, the FAQs that Tyler prepared. We also got an email from Tyler after the public meeting. I don't know if that was in the packet as well.
It was not in the packet, but it was emailed.
Oh, we all got that.
And also available at your desk.
That's that summary, yeah, and that's at our desk as well. That summary of the comments of the public from the public meeting, and I think we see that largely those comments were in support of the reconfiguration, certainly making the roadway safer for pedestrians, safer for bicyclists, and to the extent that we'll have calmer traffic, safer for motorists as well. So I don't think at this point that we need, Mr. President, a reiteration from our consultant, Mr. Voigt, on his findings and conclusions. nor, and I want to respect the pedestrian and bike safety representatives, singular. If you would care to make any comments, I want to give ample time and respect to the work that you and the committee have done. If you have any comments before I make a motion.
I'm Rachel Ellerman, 4035 North Newhall. I'm the chair for the Pedestrian and Bicycle Safety Committee. We've had a lot of public meetings, as you mentioned. And we had a little bit of discussion after the last one. I think that given the response that we witnessed at the meeting, there were 42 people there at the start. There were 30 people there when we went into small groups and actually took a straw poll. We had about 3 people who voiced their opposition to the plan, mostly because of some safety concerns, some hypothetical safety concerns. Mr. Voigt had some, what I thought were reasonable accommodations and responses to how those could be mitigated, or examples of why those were not an issue in similar configurations, for example, Whitefish Bay. So we did, following the last public meeting, come to the conclusion that we would like to recommend extending that reconfiguration south of Capitol as a committee. Thank you.
Excellent. So the memo that we have